Good morning, everyone. Again, welcome to OVH. So this will be more about talking about VMware and OVHCloud. Before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Deepak Shetty. I am a technical account manager with OVHCloud. With my colleague here, Rodney Matthijs, he's also a technical account manager. We take care of enterprise customers for OVH. So today we would probably cover a little bit of OVH background, the history, and how we support VMware on OVH and stuff like that. That's basically what we are going to cover in this slide. It's going to be a joint collaboration between me and my colleague. So I'll cover a few slides, and then later on he'll take over and he'll cover a few slides. So that's exactly how it's going to work. Yes?
Yep, sounds good. Oh, just a little bit of history about myself. So I've been in the industry quite a few years, probably close on 26, 27. I used to work for about 19 years, if you know them, Veritas. So if any of you running net backup, then that's one of the technologies I used to support back in the day. And I've been with OVH probably about 4 years now. So yeah, it's just a little bit about me.
Thank you, Rodney.
Pleasure.
Okay, so now that Rodney has told him about himself, so let me also tell. Okay, so I've been in industries for like 16 years now, and I have worked for organizations like Accenture, IBM, and Microsoft. So that's where I came from. The last company that I worked was Microsoft, and now it's OVH here. I'm in OVH from last close to 2 years. Yes, Rodney is my mentor, he's my trainer. He's been ensuring that I get very much accommodated with the OVH products and stuff like that. Thank you, Rodney.
Pleasure.
Okay, let's go on. Okay, the agenda. As I was saying, the agenda is like who OVHCloud is, VMware on OVHCloud, why do we need to update, and some bits and pieces of automation process that we have in OVHCloud, and of course the last one, Q&A. Okay, next slide, please. Right, so this is basically going to tell us how are we as an alternative cloud leader in the market to bring the ambitions to life. We have around 2,900 plus employees. Our revenue is close to 993 million, around 1 million of servers. We are positioned as a major player in public cloud infrastructure as a service, and also positioned as a private cloud leader in Europe. And IDC 2025 marketplace, we were one of the emerging major players as a leader as an OVHCloud. Next slide, please. Thank you. So innovation for freedom. Why innovation for freedom? Because we are pioneer in a sustainable cloud. And the very important thing that we have is trusted cloud data sovereignty champion. It's the data sovereignty that we believe in as a European leader in the market. We believe data sovereignty is one of the key for OVHCloud. In open standards, addressing the data sovereignty, best price performance, and above all, an active ecosystem that we believe in. An ecosystem in terms of SaaS and PaaS solutions that's hosted on OVHCloud. Any questions?
As well as a VMware VCF platform, I think you run an OpenStack platform.
We do,
yes,
yeah.
we do.
Do you run Azure or sort of like Azure on-prem or what? Is
No,
it just
just
those
an
two
OpenStack.
platforms that you
The
really-
OpenStack is for public cloud mainly, so that's what we use for. So the public cloud side of the business is what the back end of behind that is actually OpenStack.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how we run it.
Yeah, so we have a lot of the open source technologies that we embody as an organisation sit within the public cloud ecosystem. The private cloud ecosystem is when we I guess more industry-wide introduce technologies like VMware. We have Nutanix.
Nutanix, yeah.
But you mentioned on-prem, so this is a new product that's coming from OVHCloud. It's called On-Premise Cloud Platform. So we can deliver pre-built racks into anywhere in the world really. It could be your own data center, it could be your office, it could be a bedroom if you wanted a very expensive heater. But we can deliver that, and then it can come with a catalogue of technologies pre-installed and managed and maintained by us, or it can be managed and maintained by you in a completely air-gapped situation. So if you're operating in a very regulated, sensitive industry, you can have this rack, you can have all the automation that OVH has built and utilising all of our data centres, and have that deployed on-premise into your location. So that can come with VCF 9 if you wanted to utilise this. but then there are OpenStack that can be deployed as well. So new, exciting, lots of possibilities, lots of things to figure out with the logistics and operational side of it, but we certainly can deliver on-premise now.
And just for my own personal benefit, how do you see the split? From say a VMware perspective, an OpenStack perspective. Do you sell more OpenStack?
I think public cloud is the one.
Public cloud is
Public cloud for me is the one.
Within your environments.
So very much depends. I would say enterprise segment, we sell more private cloud. A lot of our enterprise customers run on private cloud, mainly VMware-based technology. Public cloud, we're finding it's a lot of our startup ecosystem. That is where they tend to build their cloud native organizations. They want to make use of open standards. They use our public cloud. But certainly the more mature organizations, the enterprise grade, it's all private cloud based.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Liam. So a couple of slides you already covered. Okay. Thank you, Liam. Next slide,
You
please.
literally covered one of the options.
All right.
No, that's fine. Don't worry.
Okay, so IDC. So as I was saying in the earlier slides, that OVHCloud was named as a major player of European public cloud IaaS in according to the IDC market space. If you see here, we're very close to the line. See here. So we're one of the major players, and we were awarded by IDC Marketplace 2025. Next slide, please. This is our global presence. We are in 4 continents, 44 data centers in 18 locations across 9 countries. 46 point of presence, covering India, Singapore, Australia, Canada, UK, Germany, Poland, France, and a bit of US as well. Next slide, please.
Before we go, so one of my biggest customers actually has servers in Singapore, Limburg, Roubaix, and in the US as well. So basically you can span that whole environment and build whatever you want out of all of our services actually as well. So that's quite important to point out that like you can consume all of that. All of the links are fibers that are put in by us. So they all belong to us. The whole infrastructure here belongs to OVH. So no middlemen to get in the way or anything like that. We do interact with people like Colt, etc. We do, but all of that was built by and fiber laid by OVH.
Right, so we'll move on to the next one, bit of life cycle, bit of history from more than 25 years of VMware innovation and 15 plus years with OVHCloud. So I'm not going to talk from the everything because we all know that VMware was founded in 1998, and this basically we come back to the topic where 2011 OVHCloud launched hosted private cloud. That's exactly where it would come from.
Well, I think that's kind of like, for me, I think maybe one of the earliest implementations of like VMware on cloud or someone hosting that version. 2011 is quite some time ago. Can't even remember back that far. But yeah, that's it. That's what impressed me actually. How early OVH adopted VMware.
Right, and then moving on to a little further after the SDC vision and vSAN introduction, we'd like to cover something on 2017 VMware vCloud Air acquisition by OVHCloud.
So obviously we bought vCloud Air. I was quite surprised when I first started the OVH. I didn't actually know that we did that. I bought vCloud Air, but we did. But I have still 2 of the original customers from that purchase. So I've still got 2 of them. They still bear the battle scars. I should be honest, right? I should be honest. They still bear the battle scars of the process they had to go to, because it was basically moving them from the US to Europe without interruption, without downtime, etc. They did achieve it, but lots of customization was done in our internal systems to do that. It's not obviously running from vCloud Air to manage vSphere was a feat in itself. So it was quite a bit of engineering they did actually to make that happen.
Thank you, Rodney. And the journey continues. In 2020, OVHCloud is a leader in hosted private cloud in UE. And then we are offering new hosted private cloud office, and then acquisition by Broadcom, and now as OVHCloud is a Pinnacle partner and a CSP of the year in EU. Yep.
You're a Pinnacle
Point.
partner. I'm not sure what that means, but still. So do you want, I'll quickly
Yeah, sure.
run
Go
through this one. So I'm going to talk about managed vSphere, public VCF, and what that looks like. From a managed perspective, that's what we do, but we do unmanaged as well. So very simply, the bare metal side is just a bare metal server. We give the customer a template and say, off you go. It's your server, you run it, do what you like. That's normally what we do. The bare metal pod is something a bit different. It's more of a data center within a data center. So we kind of like compartmentalize a small data center within the data center, so the customer can only connect to that instance of it. I only really see this, not so much in EU, but more in France. We have something called VMcloud, which is in France. It's basically highly secure access to the actual equipment itself, really, really secure. So secure that as I'm a non-member of the EU, I cannot access it. I'm not allowed to. I'm not allowed to touch it. I'm not allowed to RDP. I'm not allowed to log in. I'm not allowed to do anything. And the only guys who can work on it are our European support team, literally. So no chance of me getting in there at all. So yeah, so that's what the bare metal pod is. And I think you had a little bit of a use case, even though
Even though
Liam
EM
stole,
covered it, yeah, OPC.
stole our thunder, right?
Prematurely
You
spoiled
stole
the
our
secret.
fun.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, so on-prem
you have a
cloud
little use
platform.
case.
Yeah, it's exactly as what Liam said. In a long story short, is like it's your location. It's our box. It's similar to the half of the box that you see behind. So we have all our servers inside that box, and then we tell the customer that if you need on-premises cloud, then we go ahead and deliver that box onto your location. Give your location to us, and rest will take care by us, including the maintenance, hardware services, because we have HPE as a partner who can manage that. And that's how we say, but it depends upon the customer's requirements. So we give them the option saying that lay out your requirements first. What exactly do you need? And we make sure that we build the box according to your requirement. So send it to your location. So we have one of a use case that probably I was talking to the customer in Germany last week where he wanted one of these boxes in his office as a backup as a service. So he's thinking that let me have my all backups in that box, and can you deliver to me? So we were working as a use case with that customer, asking his requirements. But basically, long story short, as I said, that it's a box in your office or in the location that you wanted it to be with our hardware, the hardware specs that you're looking for. That's basically on OPCP for us. And so we're new in the market. Yes, any questions? Great. Next one. Yes, that's for you,
Yeah.
friend.
So, what do we do? So, most of my customers sit here. I suppose vSphere 8, they're all sitting there. They use dedicated infrastructure for the power and performance, right? That's what they use it for. So they all sit in this section. The majority of them are just in this large customer base here. And I will talk a bit more about that. Well, what I would like to move on to is public VCF as a service, and the fact that I don't know the release date for that, Liam. I don't know I think it's already there, but it's based on shared infrastructure. So I think that's the key for me. I think it's at the moment 16 vCPU and 64 gig amount of memory. That's the offering we have currently. For me, obviously, that's quite small. And so therefore you can see that we're only relaying that to small customers. So it's kind of like an intro into VCF for us.
But that's running on Cloud Director, isn't it?
Yeah, VMware Cloud Director. So VCD that runs on. Yeah, so that runs on VCD at the moment. We know things are going to change, right? So like the world is going to change. So my customers here are already asking me. They know VCF is coming, so they're now asking when. So like they're asking about ETAs, when are we going to be migrating? It was quite interesting to hear earlier about the hardware thing, because that I saw was quite a stopper for my customers to move from one to the other, because obviously the cost would go up. They want to move hardware. If it does turn out that it's not going to cost them anything really to move from one to the other, I think they're going to be much happier, because obviously they can just the migration is going to be so much easier, and it's going to cost them less. But we'll see if that gets released any time soon. But, the devs will be really interested to know that. We also have in the future that will be what's going to be called private. I think it's going to be called private VCF or something similar to that. That's going to be the name. I think. I'll hold me to that. Yeah, and we talked about the license as well earlier on. So we do support VMwareOS as well. So that's there. You want to move on?
Yeah, sure.
So the solution really is kind of described earlier as, we manage everything. We manage the power. We have dedicated networking. We have dedicated compute and dedicated storage as well. And realistically, we look after all of this platform. We look after the platform itself. Customer just sees the VMs. So very simple, very not difficult. So that's basically how it's set up. NSX is optional. So if any of my customers, some of them use NSX, some of them don't. Some have their own firewalling solutions. So that's fine. Some use vSAN. I've got a few customers who are using vSAN for heavy database applications. That's standard what they would do. In this instance, when we want, or a customer wants additional resources, very straightforward. They go to our manager, which is our own OVH manager, where you can manage your resources. You can just go, I want an additional host, which is what we call these. I want an additional host, or I want some more storage. Very easy. A few clicks of a button, and in the background, our automation will deliver that to the customer's environment. Very simple, very straightforward. We do have HA, so we do basically DRS, HA, vMotion, they're all supported. And it's all backed by SLAs. I think it's, for the service, 9995, if I'm correct. So that's basically the SLA for that. Interestingly enough, talking about HA, when we do have these hosts, if one of them drops out, if we have a problem with the host, we can replace that host automatically. Normally the SLA for that is somewhere within, well, actually it's exactly 43 minutes. So we have to replace the host, but we normally tell customers that to enable DRS. So if they lose a host, it'll just restart on another host, and then we'll replace that host in 43 minutes, and then they're back to the equilibrium again. That's normally how it works. Some customers don't do that. So this environment becomes really, really tight, and so when they lose a host, it doesn't work out that well. But normally, most of the time, there's enough room for a customer. They've got the load balancing well enough to take loss of a single host.
Sure. Yep.
So I wanted to talk about our data stores as well, because the data stores themselves, they also are HA. So basically, the data stores will have a primary and they have a primary and secondary servers linked by SAS to a JBOD, which is just basically a bunch of disk SSD in RAID 10. So if one of these fails, primary server fails, then the secondary will take into effect, which does happen a fair amount, and then it flips back. So once the primary comes back online, it'll flip back across for the HA for that. We also have backup every 24 hours and hourly snapshots. Now they are for OVH mainly. So just in case of any, customer disaster, they lose a data store or something similar to that, then we can retrieve that information pretty quickly, snap from the snapshots. we still say that a customer should have their backups. So a customer should still have a application for backing up, because these are the backups and the hourly snapshots are really for us. But in the event, I've seen it in the event of like an emergency, we can actually give the customer the snapshot or the backup if required. But they should have their own backup facility. Yeah. Next one.
Sure.
So what options do we have? We have Veeam. I would presume you guys know Veeam. Zerto as well. Area operations, which was VROPS. I actually saw this the other day, and the professional services guy said to me that it was less complicated than VROPS, but still complicated. So I don't know how many of you have got that working, but it can be quite complicated to do. And obviously, you know, we use vSAN anyway, so it shouldn't be a problem. But I will talk about a little bit about how we implemented it with Veeam and with Zerto. So next slide, please.
Sure.
So basically what we do is we go into our manager and we just ask, we say, okay, give us this solution. Like, very straightforward, give us a solution. So we choose a backup solution, whether it's our standard, advanced, or premium version. Very simply, when we implement that, the moment you hit the button to add the service to your infrastructure, again, automation kicks off in the background, and it will deliver the backup server, proxy servers as well, and the filers that are required for the whole backup. So the customer normally looks in for the client. So it's important that we only add a plugin to the vClient. So that's how you access it. We don't do anything different. So our customers access our infra using the standard client. No difference, nothing special. But we just add the plugin. So the plugin then allows us to, or the customer to say, okay, well, I want to back up X amount of VMs. Simple, right? Over a certain specific kind of schedule. Quite easy to do. So the client basically will say, okay, I want to back up a few VMs. Essentially, it's very straightforward. What we do is, as usual, you'll back up the snapshots. The proxy then sends it to our backup repository. We have local and remote sites. So once the backup's in the local one, it gets replicated off-site to normally a completely different region. So we want to push it to a different region. Do you want to do next?
Sure.
Zerto, similar thing. You go into the manager, you say, okay, what implementation do I want of Zerto, either between two private cloud solutions, so that's two OVH solutions, or it can be through an on-premise solution. But just the way it'll ask you, and it will have a secondary. The main thing to point out is it will definitely have a secondary data center. So it will ask you, where do you want to replicate the data to? Again, once you've hit send, the automation will load in the virtual Zerto managers on the primary location and the secondary location. Also the VRAs that are required. So obviously the VRAs are used to transmit the data across. It will also set up automatically an IPsec VPN between the two and make sure that's working. And then after that, you, as a user, have to use the Zerto GUI. We don't have that within, excuse me, we don't actually have that within the vClient, virtual client. So it's actually, you have to go to Zerto to set that up. So it's kind of a bit of a manual kind of DRP thing after that. Yeah.
Do you have the ability to do like active data centers? So you've got primary and secondary. And to me, that sounds like a failover DR. Do you have the ability to do, whether it's using Zerto or anything else, like the ability to do active and like
an active cluster kind of thing, or active.
Or the ability to say I've got a customer with an on-prem data center within there. You know, do you have the ability to have, you know, replicate or disaster recovery from that to your
Yes,
PCs and then
yeah,
run it in active or whatever?
Yeah, yeah. You do have the ability to run it in active.
Okay.
I'm not sure if with Zerto whether it does. I'm not sure if it does that active myself. If it actually does that, I know that this process is manual. So with Zerto, it's manual. You've got to press a button in order for it to fail over from one location to the other. So whether you class that as active, I'm not sure. But with Zerto, you would definitely have to. It's all a manual. It's completely manual. Not like what I would class as a proper active cluster, where it would fail over almost automatically. But with Zerto, it's definitely manual.
Okay. Thanks.
Sure.
Yep. Certifications, just wanted to point this out. We have all the certifications, HIPAA, PCI DSS, etc. So you'd expect us to have that as a cloud vendor. You'd expect us to have all the latest certifications anyway. Why do we need to be up to date? So this is more around making sure the environment is kept up to date and with the latest patches and versions, etc. I was going to cover this, but Liam, who did you meet a little while ago? They were on 5.3. Is it 5.3? Matt mentioned it to me.
Yeah.
So I think it's 5.3 VMware.
Yeah.
And I think in my mind I was thinking, well, that's probably one of the biggest reasons is a lot of customers don't update when they should. I don't know if you guys find that. Maybe in your environments, maybe you don't, but we do find that we have to make sure that customers are at a certain level. That's our job, to make sure they're at a certain level. And very often you can find that customers just don't update because it works, right? Why update? If it's working, it's fine. So, but we do find that, so it's quite interesting. I'll do the next slide. And also obviously for new features and stuff, we want to make sure the updates are there. So this is I'm not sure if the numbers are completely right at the moment because this was done a little while ago. 40, so this is our complete environment, right? This is what we have. So 40,000 managed assets, 4,000 vCenters, 50,000 ESXIs, 800 VROPs, 1,600 NSX, and 150 customer VMs. And we have to make sure that they're all more or less at the same version. So that's our job, is to make sure they're all at the same version. Yep. So what we don't want is that scenario where each customer has got some version of VMware that we're going to have to try and manage to get to that endpoint, right? That's not going to work. That's far too much work. So what we want, very nice, easy steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that will be for all of our customers. On getting them on that journey, and not on this journey. Move on.
Sure. Sure.
We have a technical problem.
Sorry, what's that say? Is that saying you've still got customers on NSXV?
No. This is. I suppose it's more of an old slide.
Done.
All our customers are on an NSXT. As painful as that was, they are on an NSXT. Yeah. Do keep going. Next up.
Automation process.
So, I spoke quite a lot about every time you press the button, the new services brought up, new services are deployed, etc. This is what happens when you press the button behind the scenes. So basically, lots of tasks are spawned when the button is pressed. There are hundreds and hundreds of different tasks, subtasks that take place in the background when we deploy new services, when you literally do anything within our environment. There are hundreds of subtasks that are run to make sure that whatever you ask to be deployed gets deployed in a timely fashion. So we have something like 9 million tasks a month. We got 2,000 robots, 2 million lines of code. I mean, I'm not even sure if that's completely correct, 31 devs, 25 ops. But you can see there's so much that goes on in the background for us, and with coding and making sure we have the right scripts, etc. There's so much that goes on in the background. So all of the automation happens not just with VMware, but when Veeam needs an update, that means automation. Zerto needs an update, automation. Whenever we need to do anything with the OS, automation. Whenever we need to do something with our Aristas and our switches, Cisco and Arista switches, again, the whole process is automated. We automate absolutely everything. And this is the brains behind it. We call it MOSG. Basically, it's written in Perl, and it's literally the orchestration platform. All the scripts are held here, and this is what initiates any of the tasks for anything that we do. That's literally the brain. So basically, you can initiate a task in here, either internally or through an API. We have, I don't even know how many APIs we have. We've got thousands of APIs, absolutely thousands of APIs. So you can initiate the task from there, from an API. MOSG will pick it up. It will then spin up a task. And the task can be REST API, SSH in Ansible, it can be an SDK, Power CLI. We can basically spin up the task in any format we want, microservices as well. But that MOSG, I found out the other day, actually is brain in Polish. So I didn't know that. I found out the other day.
That's the spelling of brain in Polish.
Apparently.
Yep.
Apparently. I didn't know.
Deep roots into Poland. Still.
You speak to Omar. But yeah, so that's basically the orchestration brain behind everything that we do. And yeah, it spins up all the various tasks that we need. Move up.
Sure.
So typically, in regards to VMware, this is a minor update. Kind of not so many tasks as you can see, but it's very, very simple, because when we update VMware over the VSA, we basically just update the VMware VSA itself. So it's just a VM. So we update the VSA. It's very simple. Again, you can see that we start with one task and it just spins up into multiple tasks. That's the main thing to show there. So it's normally not a difficult process. So this is more of a flow for what we do. Create the snapshot, mount the ISO, then we do some logs because we need to check the VCF to make sure it's okay. We can start the upgrade of the VSA, which is just, again, like it's just a virtual machine. We verify the upgrade, we unmount the ISO, reboot the VSA. That has no impact on our customers. This whole process has no impact on our customers at all. So they continue to run everything as per normal. It's not an issue. Check the reset the version, and then we just make sure the services are running, and that's it. The next one. This is a major upgrade for the VSA. So there are a lot more spinning wheels, a lot more parts, a lot more things that actually can go wrong. But this is what it looks like. So again, one single task spawns multiple subtasks. In fact, there can be hundreds. There can literally be hundreds. I think this is just a small version of it, but there's hundreds of tasks that go on.
Sure.
So one of the problems they found when they were doing it, or when they were trying to implement this, was if you try and go to MOSG and you say upgrade this one, that one, all at the same time, you're putting quite a load on MOSG, and if it goes wrong, if there's a problem, then all of these will stop. So they decided to do it slightly a different way. Next one. They have Bootstrapper, so you can do them in parallel. So these are just VMs, more VMs, that will run this process of making sure that the VSA gets upgraded. So that's what they do. They have the ISO and the JSON, which contains all the configuration information to upgrade the VSA. So as you can see, it's a lot more difficult, a lot more steps, pre-upgrade, you create snapshots, you deploy your VM, which is a VSA, You then generate the JSON, start the upgrade, you check the upgrade. You can remove the old VSA, because when we upgrade VSA, what we're actually doing is upgrading we spawn a new one, we take the configuration from the existing VSA, migrate that to the new one, and then we get rid of the old VSA. So that's basically the process. And then we upgrade the host. So even though you do the VSA, you still have to upgrade the host. That still has to happen. Now, normally, we can tell customers to do that. So we can tell our customers you upgrade their hosts, and they can do that at their own leisure. Normally, we've given them a month or so. If they haven't done it within the month, we can schedule it to happen automatically, and then will happen. Because we have to make sure that all customers on the latest version have to do that. Once that's done, we can remove the bootstrap and we can remove the old VSA as well. Next one, please.
So just on that, in terms of roles and responsibilities for the platform, what are you responsible for and what's the customer responsible for in terms of the platform itself, things like vCenter, E6i?
We have vCenter, so vCenter is held by us, so we own that.
Right.
So the customer realistically can only create VMs, they can run NSX, they can do everything normally.
Can they log into NSX Manager?
They can do that, but we hold it. It's actually ours, and we look after that side of things as well. So they do have almost full control, but we hold, because we own the vCenter, etc. Because we own that, then ultimately, because we need to be able to push out updates, etc. We need the control, so that's why it's there. I think the only. Yeah, I think they don't have access to the VCSA. They don't have access to it all. They don't have access to everything.
So when you said earlier on about obviously the fact that some customers have NSX, some don't have NSX, some have virtual firewalls deployed.
Yeah, they do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whose responsibility is the management of the virtual firewall? That's theirs?
Yes, it's the customers.
It's the customer's
Yeah. Because they'll obviously know the configuration, all of that stuff. So they build the firewall rules.
Yeah.
Etc. That's all.
But the underlying
customers.
connectivity to that, the
Is us.
connectivity
Yeah,
is you?
it's us. Yeah. We hold that part of the platform.
Right.
Yeah.
And in terms of VCF, then, I mean, I'm assuming are you building out a VCF platform, or I'm assuming this isn't VCF, right?
Yeah, we are building out VCF platform. So that is coming. I don't know the ETA fully on that,
Yeah.
but I know that we do. Obviously, the VCF that we have currently is based on vCloud Director, right? So, but I would assume you guys are probably aware that I'm not sure vCloud Director is going to be moving forward, right? So there's a lot of rewriting for us to do in order to do that, and the next level will be the private managed, because there's public. We've got the public VCF on based on VCD, but they're also writing the private one as well. So that needs to be. I'm not even sure the ETA of that yet.
Private VCF. Well, our VCF 9 is going to alpha. It went into alpha very weeks ago. But that's running in our RS3AZ, so it's a vSAN strap buster between the 3 data centers. The roadmap for that, I haven't got a GA date for when we're going to launch this as a product. I would say several months is still ongoing for D2 alpha and D2 testing this. And the very much VCF Lite is going to be an available product set. Urbana is launching into our data centers and available on the Star platform in your own location soon. That's what it's being worked on. It's all the automation that we're seeing that what is going through now. That's what's being developed and designed by us. We need to make sure that that's working and operating as it needs to in a large productive environment.
And then in terms of the networking for that, in terms of the customer networking and obviously the network they put the VMs on, in that will that be on NSX overlay networks, or will there be a choice where they can put it on overlays or underlays? How are you building out the platform?
So that'll be a question for me.
That's not even the question for me, because I don't know how they.
Because ultimately it's a platform, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Them to consume, obviously. Do you know what I mean? NSX is part of that, right? So whether that's NSX overlays, do you know what I mean, or NSX on VLANs, or
it's normally
NSX
on VLANs. So I don't know what the new one will look like. I know the old one is separated by VLANs. That's how we use it. Now, whether or not they will do that in VCF 9, I'm not sure. Because I'm not privy to what the devs are doing in that region. So I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
it'd be interesting to know why. Obviously, you're using VLANs today.
Yeah, we
right?
are
So
using
that's the way
VLANs,
which-
yeah.
which
Yeah,
is
we are
big,
using-
right? And
yeah.
obviously, from our perspective, certainly Andy and I, who work in sort of was the NSBU, right? So we work on VCF network.
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
so
yeah.
back. It'd be interesting to know whether you're building the platform, right, to include NSX as default, right, in terms of you're building this out and you're actually
Yeah.
building the networks and NSX segments in overlay networks rather than on VLANs, and actually then customer then can, I suppose, consume things like should be vDefend, right? And actually
Yeah.
layering
Good point.
the additional add-ons
Yeah.
into that. And then obviously they can use vDefend on VLANs, but actually it's really how you're building the infrastructure
Yeah.
to support, I suppose, things like the automation journey, right? And actually simplify the deployment of VMs and applications onto overlay networks
Yeah.
rather than having to still administer a physical switch or a router
Yeah.
and provide
Yeah,
a
I see.
VLAN and an interface. Actually, why are we not doing all of this in software, right? So
Don't know.
it's
Maybe that's a question I can ask the devs.
Yeah. It'd just
Right.
know. Because
Yeah.
I would have thought that would be the approach. Right? I mean, if you go to public cloud, that's what you get. in
Yeah, it's
public
the
cloud,
software, right?
It's
It's
software
software,
enclave,
yeah, it's
right?
software
It's an enclave
driven,
that
yeah,
you're
yeah.
providing software. They're not configuring hardware, but is your next generation, you're still right, you
Yeah.
get a customer, you onboard a customer, and you're still providing them physical VLANs on a physical switch.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Good point.
yeah,
Point, yeah.
that'd be interesting to know.
Good point. And I think there's one more slide for me. Yeah, it's quite interesting that it doesn't always go to plan. So obviously you can imagine all the spinning wheels and all the hundreds and thousands of different tasks that are running at any different time. So there is human supervision. So basically, if any one of these stop, there's basically I don't know if you guys know an Ops Genie alert. So basically, it's basically just an alert, but it will message one of the support team and tell them that this particular task has stopped, and they need to go. But it works well. You know, with what we do, it works very well. So I think that's it for me.
Yes, time for Q&A. Thank you. Thank you, Rodney.
Pleasure.
Any questions, Steve?
With my daily VCF node, obviously a lot of the automation that you have within your orchestration will be, I guess, taken over by a lot of the SNCC delegate version. And how do you still maintain a kind of unique UFP as OVHCloud rather than just VCF? And also similarly, if you're writing VCF and you've got VKS, so Kubernetes service, coming with VCF, how do you differentiate that from just Kubernetes services on OVHs? Then come back. That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. The service will be the service that we provide, but I don't know in what way we. That's a really good question, actually. It's kind of got me like how to differentiate the two. I suppose our differentiation comes from OVHCloud itself, not the technology per se that you're using. Because you can get, the VMware technology is VMware technology, even if it's VCF 9, etc., 10, whatever it's going to be. I think most of us, what we differentiate comes from our history, and the fact that we, as was described earlier on in the session, that we do make sure that our data centers are water cooled. We reuse a lot of the reason we can control and be so good on price comparison is basically because we control, we build our own infrastructure, we control that, and we make sure that we reuse, for instance, we use almost like green way of doing things, of reusing components, reusing servers, we waterfall service through different services, that kind of thing. So to distinct the technologies is, I think, it's quite difficult to do, personally.
Thank you. Any questions more?
So just a quick question from me. Are you seeing any increase in sovereign cloud interest? certainly in Europe.
Never sure. I'm not sure we can get into geopolitics here. Can you turn the camera off, please? Might be ideal. Anyway, no. Yes.
As I
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
not the politics that are going on at the moment.
Yeah.
The legislation
Yeah.
certain European countries
Yeah.
requiring, certainly in Germany, there's a large interest in sovereign cloud.
Yeah. There is huge. Yeah.
And are you seeing?
In general, I would say there's more interest now from sovereign cloud discussions, etc. There's a lot more interest. From if I look back, probably when I first started, like 4 years ago, I would say you may not think that was it. I don't think it was a major discussion point, but in all honesty, as of late, it's become a real discussion point with our customers.
So is that where you're seeing you can differentiate yourself then?
Yeah.
Or you can offer that with the
Yeah.
hyperscalers cards
Yeah,
as
yeah,
they're based in the
Yeah,
US?
I think that's the thing. Even though you're probably aware that like Microsoft AWS have a version of sovereignty.
But that's currently being challenged.
Yeah, it's being challenged. Yeah, exactly. That's the point. It's being challenged right now. So, is it really sovereign?
We're totally sure. I mean, the key thing is we sit outside the US cloud and we have to meet with the way that we raise products like it. And as Robin said, we got complete control against the fires chain. So loads of clients are looking at sovereign cloud because either they themselves for their customers, their own supply chains, key stakeholders are worried about where the data sits. And with us, with a number of differentiators, I think that question came out earlier. You can decide exactly where you go to sit, which data center do you want your data center to sit in, and then you put in a whole control of the supply chain and reward person. That brings the price to it down substantially compared to most other people. Yeah. So you start to rely cost competitive, European sovereignty, and then there's a whole bunch of other kind of, devil is always in the detail, just in terms of the fact that, we're very keen to support organisations that fund on board with us. And so you'll get typically more support from somebody like us who work in that crisis AWS or Azure, depending on a certain size. So one of those factors how it can work. But yeah, sovereign cloud
Yes, definitely a conversation.
right away from
Yeah. More, I would say it's a lot more recent. A lot.
You're welcome.
Any questions? Any questions? Better? Great. No question. It's time for one more break. And
So
Yes.
that's
That's
really nice.
Big word. Uncheck.